Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about the best way to compensate marketers. So literally a couple minutes ago, Neil and I we had a side conversation, and we're just talking about how the writers at Agora Financial, which is one of the largest organizations in the world, they do how much a year? Billions?
I have no idea.
Billions, right? And you have an idea of how compensation works over there. And I was just listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and I thought it was really interesting. And the best marketers in the world are compensated this way. So, do you want to talk about their structure?
You want to start it off?
Sure,
I don't know what the podcast said on how they get paid.
So I'll start it off, and then maybe Neil can correct me where he thinks I might be off. So Agora Financial, this guy on the podcast was talking about how he was offered a job. And he got offered a job 6 months. They're going to pay for rent for the first 6 months. And it was a small salary. It's like a junior, let's just call him a junior copywriter. So $30,000 to $40,000, it's a salary, right? It's enough to put food on the table, I guess. But he was getting offered also $1, I believe, for every lead that he's able to generate. So if it's like 300,000, then he gets 300,000. And I think for every sale that happens as a result, he gets 1% of that. So it's performance compensation.
Yeah, and I don't know what Agora's deals are with each of their writers or marketers, but in general, the best marketers are compensated on performance. This typically doesn't happen with the larger corporations, but when you're dealing with smaller companies or bootstrap companies, they're much more flexible. And people love, at least I love, compensating purely based off of performance. I would love to do a deal where it's just 100% performance, and I would even pay more for it. Most people don't like that, and they rather take the base. But if you're really amazing at what you're doing, you probably are willing to roll the dice and just do a pure performance-based play in which someone pays you purely for results, and if you don't produce, you don't get paid anything. So if you're looking to hire people, you're probably not going to get anyone to do anything performance-based at the beginning. But once your business is proven out and you have your funnels and your conversion rates and your ad channels and whatever it may be, and your business has been established, your revenue is there, it's steady, you can typically get marketers to take some sort of base plus performance/bonus based on if they hit certain milestones.
Actually, yeah, there's an ad agency over here in the LA area near LAX. And they just do dating performance marketing. So they make landing pages. They just focus on Google AdWords, at least to my knowledge. And they do about 80 million plus a year in revenue. And they just focus on dating. They just do performance, right? And the thing is, Charlie Munger all the time, Warren Buffett's partner, talks about incentives. Everything around the world is driven by incentives, right? So if you're able to work on performance, you drive your results based on you're aligned in terms of incentives, I should say. So now instead of the dating company being like a client and then the marketing agency being a vendor, they are now partners. They're going to dinners with each other. They love each other. They're like they're symbiotic, right? And that's how they get compensated so much money. And I have a buddy that works there, and he just talks about how their structure is. So if you guys are, maybe you don't have the capital initially to do performance. One of my friends who also does performance around kind of e-commerce, what he recommends, here's a structure you can use, is maybe you get the company to front 10 grand in ad spend for 1 month, and you don't pay the agency anything. And if it works out, then you agree to take on the performance. Like you take on all the ad spend, everything, you take on the risk, and then you grow from there. You have a button down agreement. That's one way you can help yourself grow, because a lot of you in here are aspiring agency owners or consultants.
Yeah. So just follow that. When it comes to compensating people, you're not going to get most of the people to do a performance-based deal, but the best people are willing to accept that. They may require a big base, but they'll still accept some sort of performance kicker because if they believe in themselves, they want that upside. Now, again, this will not work for you if you don't have your numbers. Agora, as Eric mentioned, on that podcast he heard where they broke down their numbers, Agora's been in business for a very long time. They have their numbers down. So they know what each customer is worth, what they should spend, their margins. If you're a new business and you want to do everything performance-based, you can lose your shirt due to the fact that if you pay someone too much, your margins won't be there. And on the flip side, as a new business, most people typically won't be willing to do something that's just purely performance-based.
All right, so that is it for today. But before we go, remember, we are trying to throw a live event for free in Los Angeles, aiming for Q1, Q2 of 2019. We're trying to get to 1 million downloads over a 30-day period, and we need your help getting there. marketingschool.io/stats. That's with an S. And you can track the progress. We need you to rate, review, subscribe to this podcast, spread the love. Every little bit of help helps us a lot.
And this will be a free event. You can come down. There'll be food. There'll be everything. We want to make it amazing, educate you. You won't have to pay $1.
All right. With that being said, we'll see you tomorrow.